were. Our grade school teachers might have thought the same. My neighborhood church held its sermons in Polish and the Catholic Mass in Latin. My next-door neighbors went to the nearby synagogue, and the colored folks across the street attended local storefront churches. It was the job of the New York City public school system to correct our language and make us all Americans, aided by the local Democratic Party machine, whose alderman, a local judge, lived next door. Ethnicity defined our daily social relations. One was never simply an individual, but always a member of a group. While my brother and I played street games with our Jewish and colored neighbors, our parents never entered the homes of members of the other groups, though I never heard them utter a pejorative term about them. They were just different. Our social circle consisted of those Catholic families on our side of the street. When we needed medical or dental care, we went to the Polish doctor and dentist a few blocks away, not to the Jewish professionals up the block. To get a Saturday haircut, my father and I walked past the colored barber shop to the Polish barber a few doors down. If whiteness is defined not only by skin color but also by Christianity, in those days Catholics were not Christians, there were no whites in my neighborhood. I did not meet anyone who consciously identified as white until I joined the military at 19 and shipped down south. After basic training in Texas, my first posting was in Alexandria, Louisiana, a part of the country where whiteness was an obvious fact of daily life. Though informally segregated, racial groups tended to stick together. The military base was an oasis of integration. As soon as one left its confines, however, the surrounding community was marked by racial distinction. On the non-segregated military bus ride into town, one passed the shotgun shacks of black farmhands before entering the outlying streets lined with the neat homes of white families. The local movie house had separate entrances for blacks and whites. White customers were served first at supermarket checkouts. No mixed groups walked the streets. Blacks gave way to whites on the sidewalks. Bars and clubs were entirely segregated, and the black bands that played to white audiences used the back door to make their way to the stage. One was aware of white privilege with every step through the day. Military service clarified two social hierarchies, one racial and other class-related. In the first, I was made aware of the privilege my white skin afforded, and in the second, I was on the bottom rung. Having scraped through high school by barely passing non-college preparatory classes, I was stuck in a position where I was disciplined and ordered about by officers I did not respect. I would soon recognize that the only difference between us was the possession of a college degree, so I decided to get one of those. However, the racial difference proved much more difficult to effect. This personal note speaks to collective identification as it defines one's social interactions in a loosely segregated urban American environment. In such contexts, white skin tone is routinely present, but not strongly articulated as collective identity in any manifest sense. It is neither culturally nor politically thick, but present on the surface in latent form. This, I believe, has held true for much of American history, where having white skin provided many advantages that did not require conscious acknowledgement from its bearers, yet was there when you needed it. It could also be there when you did not want it, such as when racial tensions exploded during my high school years, when you had no choice about which side you were on. The choice was made for you, just as it always had been for my darker-skinned schoolmates. In such a context, racial identity, read as skin color, is ascribed, determined by how others see you. There is a clear difference between race as an ascribed category and racial identification. The former may be a formal matter of administration, while the latter requires active presence, though not necessarily active awareness. As an American, one can learn much about whiteness through reflecting on personal experience. But to get at the historical roots of white consciousness in its manifest forms, one needs the perspective that social theory provides. In fact, these personal reflections were made possible through my training as a sociologist. What might appear to be experience-based reflections are really memories that are actively framed and interpreted through historical and cultural sociology, a process that may bring knowledge but